Hello, welcome to the Eldenwood Craft Podcast. This is episode 29. My name's Emma and this is my corner of YouTube where I get to chat to you about all the things I've been making since I was last here. Thank you very much for visiting if you are a returning viewer, and if you are a new viewer, if this is your first time, a very big warm welcome to you. You may find I'm slightly rusty today, probably more than slightly rusty. It's been a good few months since I last visited. In fact, it was the beginning of August, I believe, since when I last recorded a podcast. I was just off on my holidays. I can remember that big stack of books that I showed you that I was going to read on holiday. Didn't happen. Read some, but not all of them. And yeah, it's life, you know, it's yeah, COVID, life, family. It's just been quite a full-on few months, and I've not really had the brain space to come and talk to you really. Yeah, we'll get into that possibly a little bit later on. I have got my show notes over here. I am going to be rusty because it's been so long, and I will refer to my show notes probably quite a lot today, so I hope that isn't too irritating, but I do want to get everything right. So show notes are going to be under the video in the information box. In there will be links to all the things I'm talking to you about, all the projects that I've been making, and also a link to all the places that you can find me online, including my website, which is www.eldenwoodcraft.com. I am a maker of project bags that I sell in my shop. There's not very much in there at the moment. I had a shop update end of October, I think it was, and I end of October or beginning of November, I can't quite remember, but yeah, there's very little in there at the moment, and I'm not going to be talking about my shop today. So that's show notes. I will just add a Ravelry warning to the show notes. If you have got a problem with accessing Ravelry at the moment, please be aware that a lot of the pattern links and links to my projects will be Ravelry links, and I will make sure that that information goes into the show notes, but just be aware that if you click on them it will take you to Ravelry. Other things to say at the beginning: if you enjoy the podcast, it would be great if you were to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to be notified of when I come back with another podcast, which I'd really like to be more regularly, so you never know, maybe 2021 is the year of showing up. But anyway, if you would like to be notified of when I do put another video out, then click the subscribe button. The more likes, the more subscribes, the better it is for me, because that gets the podcast out there, and it's just a thing that, yeah, anyway, likes and subscribes. Did I tell you what the date is today? It's the 29th of November. In the UK, we are coming towards the end of our, or in England, we're coming towards the end of our second period of lockdown. That finishes on the 2nd of December, which just so happens to be my 20th wedding anniversary. We got married on the 2nd of December in the year 2000. Yeah, I don't know why I'm telling you that, but you might like to know. So yeah, so we're about to head out of lockdown into where I am, into a tier 2 situation. I won't go into the details of that. If you're in the UK, you will understand, possibly. I think it's a little bit confusing sometimes, isn't it? But yeah, we're going into tier 2 in Surrey, where I live, which is in the south of the UK. Next thing on my list is content. So this is going to follow the very usual format of a podcast. I'm going to be doing a little bit of admin in a second. Got prize winner for the Eldenwood Craft Make 9 along. And then I shall be going into quite a long knitty content, which is good. That's why you're here. I've got lots of whips to show you, lots of finished objects to show you, which is great. So yeah, this could be quite a long podcast actually. So if you want to settle down and watch it all in one go, a nice drink would be good, a knitting or crochet or craft project to keep you company, and let's get on with it. Oh, before I do get on with it, what I'm wearing, must do that, mustn't we? So I'm wearing my V-neck boxy, which is huge, as the boxy is. Shall I stand up? You might be able to. Yeah, so that's my boxy. It's knit out of Drops Nord. I knit it possibly 3 years ago. Wasn't very happy with when I finished it, but actually this year I have been wearing it loads. It's a nice layering sweater. I wear it a lot under sort of these jersey tops. I knit mine without any sleeves, and I think it actually works. It works really well as a sort of an over thing. So much so that I'm thinking about knitting another one, but we will see. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing. I also have a pair of socks on, hand knit socks, but I'm not going to show you those. So into some admin before we get cracking on the knitting. I want to announce the winner of the quarter 3 Eldenwood Craft Make 9 Along for 2020. This is a year-long make-along where at the outset of the year those who are taking part what are the words that I'm trying to come up with? Sorry, not the camera. Yeah, so at the outset of the year, if you were taking part, you nominated 9 types of things that you wanted to make. It could be any craft, it could be specific patterns, it could be I want to knit a jumper but not sure of the specific pattern. Anyway, 9 things that you wanted to complete in the year, and at the end of every quarter I announce a prize winner from the finished objects thread. The last quarter finished at the end of September. It's now the end of November. I'm a little bit late, I'm very sorry, but I have drawn a prize winner. Can I just say also thank you very much if you have continued to take part in this make-along. I am fully aware that I've been very absent from the Ravelry thread, so I do apologise. Not great at keeping up with make-alongs at the best of times, but I have been checking in and looking and liking, so do know that your efforts are going as recognised. Thank you. Anyway, the winner has been drawn. It was Post 80, who is Frida Makes. Frida is in I'm assuming your name is Frida. Frida is in Germany, so congratulations, Frida. If you want to get in touch with me, your prize is a bag that I will make for you, a project bag. It can be any size, any of my fabrics that I have available, any sort of style. So if you want to get in touch with me either through Ravelry, through Instagram, or by email, and you can find my email address under the video, let's have a conversation about what sort of bag you might like, and then I will make that for you and send it out to you. It may not get to you before Christmas, but if I can do, I will do. Okay, just having a look at the finished object thread this morning before I came on. We have got 3 people who have finished all 9 of their Make 9 so far. So congratulations to you. If you do finish your 9 and post your 9 finished objects in the finished object thread, I think I will be saying finished objects quite a lot today. If you do post all 9, then at the very end of the year I will draw another prize from those completed 9 collections. I know what I mean, but one of you who finish all 9 will win an additional prize, so that's incentive to keep on making and keep posting. I'm trying to decide whether or not to run it again next year. I'm in 2 minds about it. If anyone feels strongly either way, then do let me know. Pop a comment down below. I will do my very best after this episode to keep up with the comments and to comment back and have a chat with you all. Right, anything else to say on that? Oh yeah, so just to say that if you can't post your finished objects in Ravelry, then I am also running a hashtag on Instagram. I don't actually think that hashtag has been used. I did check before coming on today, and when I was drawing the prize, and I'm sure that nobody has posted in it, but I will put the hashtag in the show notes as well if that is something that you would like to use instead of Ravelry. Okay, so, and we are, final thing on this, we are in the last quarter, so after the end of December I will draw the Q4 prize winner at the same time as the completed 9 prize winner, so there are 2 more prizes to announce on that. Okay, so before we get into the knitting, there's just one other thing I'd like to say, and that's to wish my lovely Instagram friend Sue a very happy birthday. Sue, it was your birthday a few days ago. Hope you had a lovely day, and this episode is dedicated to you. Right, let's get on with some knitting. So first thing I'm going to talk about is socks. I've got 2 finished objects and 2 whips. I've got my whips here, so let's talk about those. First of my whips is sitting in this lovely hedgehog bag, which was a gift from my lovely friend Sarah. Sarah, thank you very much. I love this. This was a complete surprise 2 or 3 weeks ago in the post. Sarah made this for me. It's really lovely. I treasure this. And I have got in here, not a lot to show you, but I am knitting a DK weight sock. A little bit tangled up because I haven't knit on it for a few weeks, but this is it. Just a very simple 3x1 rib in this lovely sort of duck eggy blue, I suppose it is. It's a Rico Essentials Merino DK, and it just has a colour number. It's either colour 60 or is that 81? 81, I'm not sure which is which. One's the colourway, one is the dye lot. But yeah, 50-gram ball, knitting up really nicely. Going to make a really lovely cosy pair of socks. They're not for me, they are for someone else. And I am knitting these using higher stainless steel needles, and the size of the needles is 3.75, and that's making quite a nice sock fabric there. First time I've knit DK weight socks. Yeah, they'll be lovely and cosy in the middle of winter, wrapped up in front of the fire perhaps, or when you come downstairs in the morning when it's cold and it's dark and no one else is in the house and no one else in the house is up. You come down on your own with a cup of tea, the Christmas lights are on, you pick up your knitting. Isn't that lovely? I love it. I prefer spring, but I love it at this time of year when you get to do things like that. So yeah, so that's my first work in progress, just a very simple pair of DK weight socks. I started these several times, I have to say. I wasn't following a particular pattern. It took me a few goes to get the right sort of stitch count. I can't quite remember how many stitches I cast on. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, maybe 48 stitches. Not sure. Something like that. Yeah, so they will make a lovely cosy pair of socks. So that's work in progress number 1. Work in progress number 2 is sitting in, this is one of my bags actually. It's a series or a collection of bags that I made for a charity project or fundraising project for Treasure Chest. It was a project that ran through October, raising money for breast cancer care. I'm not going to say the name of the hospital, it's a Welsh name, I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I would not make a very good job of saying it probably. But yeah, so I raised £140 for breast cancer care through the sale of bags throughout or through the sale of these Foxy bags throughout October. So that was really brilliant to be part of that. Organised by a lady called Catherine, who I met at the Knitty Retreat last October, October 2019. So really pleased to have been part of that. And this bag is holding my Strictly Sock Along socks for 2020. Are you taking part in that? It's a knit along run by Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. I'm sure you know her. If you don't, she records one of the best podcasts out there, in my humble opinion. And I am taking part in the sock along. I'm not very good at keeping up with make-alongs of any kind. However, I have made my first, so I have finished my first sock. If I put these on a blocker actually, so I can show them to you properly. The sock along is run in conjunction, or is run to go along with the UK series of Strictly Come Dancing, which is a celebrity dance competition on television on a Saturday evening. I've watched it since the second series, I think. Absolutely love it. Brilliant, brilliant programme. My favourites this year are, who are my favourites this year? Bill and Oti. Bill Bailey is just brilliant. When I was young and had just moved to London, I lived in southwest London and used to go up to Balham to, oh, what was the name of the comedy club? The Banana Comedy Club, was it? And Bill Bailey, I'm sure, used to, there were comedy nights on a Friday or Saturday night. It was quite a long time ago, I can't remember very well, but yeah, I'm sure Bill Bailey was one of the comedians that used to go there quite regularly, and I'm sure I've seen him on a few occasions. I may be making that up completely, and if I am, apologies, but anyway, so yeah, so Bill and Oti, Ranveer and Giovanni, and who else do I like? Harvey and Jeanette, or as we say in our house, Hervey. If you know, you know. Hervey and Jeanette Monroe. That's what we call them. Anyway, tangent, kind of tangent, isn't it? Anyway, I love Strictly. Myself and my daughter sit and watch it every Saturday. My husband hasn't got time for it. He goes off and does stuff while it's on. Anyway, you want to see the sock, don't you? You don't want to hear me chatting about Strictly Come Dancing. So, my Strictly socks for this year. This is the first one, it's finished. It is the Lola sock, which is a pattern by Jules of So Sweet Violet. And it is the official sock of the Strictly Sock Along. And Jules is donating, I think it's £3, again, I can't remember. She's donating a sum of money from the sale of every pattern to okay, so let me get this right. So Gaynor, who is Tales of Cookie Land, she has a brilliant, she records vlogs usually rather than sort of sit down podcasts, and they're brilliant. I love them, and Gaynor's amazing. One of her sons, Bill, goes to a special school that is for children with learning difficulties and special educational needs, and they are an underfunded school and have been desperate for a minibus to take the children out on trips, because the one they have is very old and needs replacing. So the Gaynor, so yeah, so that's, so the proceeds from, or the Jules is donating a sum of money from the sale of each pattern to Bill's special, hashtag Bill's Special Bus. She's raised a load of money so far, well over £1,000. I can't quite remember how much, but it's a lot, it's a decent amount. Kelly from Lay Family Yarns dyed the official yarn, and again Kelly donated money from the sale of each of those skeins of yarn to the fundraiser as well. I didn't get the yarn, but this is another Lay Family Yarns yarn. It's the, there's a theme here. I always get the name of this yarn wrong. There's Kelly's ball band, and the colourway is my favourite colour, is Autumn. It's a superwash merino nylon. It's the most stunning skein of yarn. The colours in there are so rich and autumnal. Absolutely love it. As I said, I haven't cast on the second sock yet, but yeah, it's a really lovely. This down here is is where all the detail of the pattern is, and the rest of it is a sort of nice simple knit with Jules's Go Day heel, and I did the umbrella toe. I can't remember if I did the toe that was in the pattern. I think not. I think I substituted a toe in. I'll need to go back and check my pattern notes. But yeah, really love that, really love that. So I need to get cracking on sock number 2. Okay, let's put that away, and I will show you the socks that I have finished. You got a sneak peek of one of them when I took it off the sock blocker. But I have knit a pair of Scrappy socks. I've enjoyed knitting Scrappy socks this year. There's the second one. These are randomly striped minis, just from odds and ends from my mini collection. Both socks are as identical as I get, but the stripe placement and the number of rows is roughly, or the stripe placement is the same, the number of rows is probably roughly the same. And I just changed up the yarn as I felt like it. These were knit on 2.25 needles. They are a 3x1 rib and a 2x2 ribbed cuff. Heel flap and gusset with a slip stitch heel. And the needles that I used were Chalgoo fixed circulars, the Chalgoo lace needles. Yeah, not a lot to say about them. They're fun socks, a really good way to use up odds and ends. Don't like my leg to be too long. I prefer a shorter leg. Yeah, really like them. Really happy, fun pair of socks. The other pair of socks that I have finished are these lovely festive socks. These are the Robin socks. This is a yarn, you probably recognise it. It's a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. It was their Christmas colourway. Was it last year or the year before? Can't quite remember. It's not the one from this year. But yeah, it's from their signature 4-ply bird collection. There's the ball band. Yeah, and their Robin colourway. Just a plain vanilla sock, 2x2 rib at the top, a heel flap and gusset, and a wedge toe. I prefer a heel flap and gusset. I have come to the conclusion. Knit again on 2.25mm needles, again Chalgoos, although I think I finished them off. Yes, I did. I think I started them on fixed circulars and then moved to DPNs just for a change. And actually I really, I enjoyed knitting on DPNs, so I'm going to knit my next pair of socks on DPNs just for a change. And there's the second one. Oops. So yeah, another pair of socks to add to the collection. I was thinking recently, got a lot of socks now, and how many socks do you need? I don't think I need any more socks, so I'm going to go through my sock collection and see which socks I wear regularly, which socks I don't wear at all, which socks I don't really have any socks that have worn through at all, but there's some that are looking maybe not quite their best. But yeah, I think I might need to have a bit of a cull, because I've got a lot of sock yarn still to knit that I did buy specifically for socks. So yeah, I need to have a bit of a think about what I do about socks. So anyway, that's just a thought that's going around in my head at the moment. Okay, I think that's it on the sock section. Yeah, so I shall come back in a minute and talk to you about shawls. Right, little break for lunch there. Not that you would have noticed, but yeah, it was lunchtime. I had Kerala chicken curry soup and it was very tasty. Right, so I'm going to talk about the shawls I have been making. These are all whips. I haven't finished a shawl, I don't think, and I'm sure I haven't. I should know, since I last spoke to you. So let me go through these just quickly. This first one in my, has it got a label? The label is there. In my butternut, I was going to say butternut squash, butternut handmade bag, which was a lovely swap that I did with Concetta. I absolutely adore this bag. In here is a new cast on. If you watched my last episode, I was talking about knitting the Schnee shawl, which was, oh, I think it was a pattern by Melanie Berg. I think that's right. Anyway, this isn't the Schnee shawl, and I was going to be knitting it out of this Ishiguro alpaca one. Didn't really work out. I cast on, I was using, I won't go into detail, it didn't work. I wasn't happy with the fabric that I was getting, and so I just cast on something completely different. And that completely different thing is this. I haven't knit on this for probably a couple of months, I have to say, but this is the Alinda shawl by Amber O'Brien. Have I got a print out? No, I haven't. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a lace weight shawl with a sort of a yarn over pattern, very straightforward, and it has a you might be able to see, there is a central, well, it's not really central, but a line up here that divides the work, and the shape sort of goes like that into a big, I'm not quite sure the name of the shape, but it's a big rectangular-ish shape, distorted rectangular. There's probably a proper geometric word for the shape, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, thoroughly enjoying knitting on this when I knit on it. It's not quite mindless, but it doesn't take too much thinking about. Yeah, that gives you a better idea of what it's going to look like. So nice and simple. Absolutely adore the yarn. It's as light as a feather, and I would very dearly like to make some more items out of this. This is colour 16. I can't remember if it has an actual name or it's just known by the number. But yeah, you can possibly see it's got a nice halo on it. That would be the alpaca. Yeah, really nice, but I haven't, it's a shawl for the springtime, late summer, so I'll pick it up again at some point, but yeah, just nice shawl, enjoying knitting on it. I might pick it up again very soon actually. We'll see. Anyway, so shawl number 1, the Alinda shawl by Amber O'Brien. I like Amber O'Brien's shawls. I like the shape of them. She's having a knit along in December, and a number of her patterns have been on sale recently, and a number of her patterns were on sale in August, and I bought a couple of them then, and I have actually got another Amber O'Brien shawl that I'm about to show you, and I have got plans to knit another Amber O'Brien shawl soon. Yeah, I just really like, I like her patterns. Anyway, the other Amber O'Brien shawl, knitting in one of my old project bags. I absolutely love this fabric. I cannot get it anymore, which is a real shame, but yeah. So this shawl that I am knitting is the Miso Shawl. You can see that. I'm knitting the 1 skein version using this yarn. Let me show you the ball band first. It's another Lay Family yarn. Is that going to focus? Doesn't want to. Yeah, it's another Lay Family yarns yarn, and it's Industrial Heritage, the Industrial Heritage colourway. It's a 75/25 superwash merino nylon, part of Kelly's Iron Bridge collection, and this is it. As Craig would say, gorgeous. Do you like my cake? It was my birthday in October, and my lovely husband bought me the, actually, hold on, I'll show you, it's just over here. My lovely husband bought me the Knit Picks ball winder. It's fantastic. There are quite a few reviews of these on YouTube. Kay from Bakery Bears has one and did a review. Angela from Yarn and Yarns I think has one as well. I absolutely love it. It has made me an even happier knitter than I could possibly imagine being. It just makes the most gorgeous cakes of yarn. They don't, it's brilliant. If you're thinking about investing in one of those, because they're not cheap, so if you are thinking of investing in one, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Makes really gorgeous cakes. And this is the progress that I have made. Not a lot, but you can see, what's the best way to? There, knitting up really nicely. You can see there's a chevron, I can't hold it very well, there's a chevron pattern, lace pattern, there we go, chevron lace pattern. Obviously very early stages. I'm making the 1 skein version rather than the 2 skein version. I found that I'm wearing quite a lot of 1 skein shawls at the moment just to keep my neck warm, particularly as I'm walking to work. This keeps my neck warm rather than a great big 2 or 3 skeiner. So yeah, just really enjoying it. I'm knitting on higher stainless steels. I don't often use progress keepers. Can you see that? But I popped one on here just to, so I knew what the right side of the work was. That little fella, this little penguin, came from Nora George. It was attached to a skein of yarn. I can't remember what it was. It was quite a long time ago. Yeah, I found him the other day and I thought, well, I'll pop you on. So anyway, so that's the Miso shawl. So both those shawls will be relatively long-term projects. I'm not in any hurry to finish them, although that Miso I would quite like to suppose I quite like to wear that over the winter. This project, however, has got a definite deadline of Christmas. It's in my, I love this bag, it's my ink bags bag. I did a swap, I can't remember her name, the lady behind ink bags. I did a swap many years ago for a bag, obviously. She doesn't make them anymore, but yeah, just a really nice simple linen, cotton linen bag. Anyway, in here is a Christmas present for my mum. My mum will not be watching this. She doesn't do technology, so she will not be watching this, so I'm quite safe to show you. And I'm knitting the Miss Marple shawl, scarflet, shawllet thing. It sort of knit round and it sort of tucks in. There's a way that it tucks together and it just keeps your neck warm. It's a pattern by Suzanne. You can see Suzanne S-VV. And I am knitting it in the Rerum Natura Gilliat, which is a yarn that I love. There's the ball band. And its colourway is Pavot. Oh, look bad. Having trouble focusing today. It wants. Believe me when I say the colourway is Pavot. And it's a colour that I wouldn't ordinarily knit with. Bright red. My mother loves red. Last year I knit her a red woolly hat. This year she's getting a scarf in this bright. It's looking much brighter on screen than it actually is in real life. It's a bit of a sort of deeper red in real life. And I cast this on, but it's Sunday the 29th today, and I think I cast this on at the beginning of the week, so maybe Monday or Tuesday. And this is the progress that I've made. So it kind of, when it goes around the neck, it wraps up, it folds up double like that and sort of sits around there. So I haven't got too much more to do. So you knit another one of these at the other end, and then here is where there's a little hole that you make in here. Oops. In quite a clever way. Yeah, so that'll get finished in the next week, I would imagine, and then it'll wing its way up to my mother for Christmas. Can I tell you anything else about that pattern? I don't think so. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. All the other shawl patterns that I've mentioned are paid for patterns, but this one is a free pattern if you wanted to go and have a look at it. It's quite a straightforward knit, nothing terribly difficult. It's all done in garter stitch, so it just makes for quite a nice, easy, relaxing knit. Okay, that is all the shawl talk. I was going to show you a pair of wrist ticklers. Wrist ticklers is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. It's basically a tube with ribbing on either end, and it's you put it up here just to keep your wrists warm. I've been knitting a Scrappy version. Can't find the project bag anywhere. I had a really good hunt for it just before I started recording, and I cannot find it for the life of me, so you'll have to wait and see that next time. So I will now move on to sweaters, and I have got 3 sweaters to show you. Can you believe it? I have got 2 finished objects. One of them you will have seen before if you've watched the podcast. It took me pretty much a year to make, although there were some long gaps of inactivity on it. The second one took me about a month to make. You haven't seen this before. And the third one I started yesterday, so there's not much to show on that. But let me show you in order of completion. So the first one is this. This is my Arata sweater. It's a pattern by Jennifer Steingass. Paid for pattern on Ravelry. It's a fingering weight colourwork sweater knit out of Cilka Arwetta Classic. I forget the colourway names, but actually I've got a spare ball. Hang on. In fact, I've got more than a spare ball. I've got that many spare balls. Let me tell you the colourway names first, if they're on here. No, so this is colourway 812. It's something like grey mix. And then the contrast colour was knit out of this. This is red squirrel, or colourway 352. So this is just a very simple 80/20 superwash merino nylon. It's very soft, very nice. It was quite splitty. It's not particularly sort of tightly plied. Did I enjoy knitting with it? Not hugely. I don't think I would knit another big project out of it. But I've got all that left. I swatched. I knit the size that I swatched for. I bought enough yarn, maybe one ball extra, and I've still got all that left. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 300 grams. These are 50 gram, sort of, they're not balls, are they? But you know, 50 gram skeins, balls, whatever they're called. Hanks? No, it's not hank. Which I find a little bit frustrating. These aren't, certainly not expensive. Just putting them on the floor. They're not expensive. It's not an expensive skein yarn to buy. This is about it's about £3.50 maybe for one of these. But yeah, a little bit irritating that there's that much left over. But it's a lovely sweater. If you watched previous podcasts, you know I was a little bit, had fallen out of love with it. It's not my favourite sweater in terms of how it sits on me. I would have liked to have knit it a little bit longer, and that's all completely my fault. I guess I was too eager to finish the body because I wasn't really enjoying that great swathe of stocking stitch body. But I have worn it several times. As I said, I swatched for the correct size for me. It's quite a around here it's quite a well-fitting garment, but round the abdomen it's nice and loose. I do have quite I'm on the larger size up here, or I was tangent time. In the summer, in June or July, I had a routine blood test. I take blood pressure tablets, and every year I have a blood test just to check everything's functioning as it should do. And this year I got a call back from the GP, which is the first time that had ever happened, and she said she gave me the news that I was pre-diabetic, which was a real, shock. And it gave me the impetus or the incentive to do something about my weight. I've known I've been overweight for many a year. I'm just thinking about whether I'm going to give you the figures. I think I will, because I'm really proud of what I've done. So at that time I was a smidge over 13 stone, which put me in the overweight category, and I am now, so that was beginning of July, I think it was. I looked at the options for me to in terms of what I could do it from a diet perspective. We've always eaten well. My husband does the bulk of the cooking, but when we cook from scratch. We very, very rarely would have a ready meal, and very occasionally have a takeaway. But I think portion size and some of what we were eating was not great. We would eat a lot of vegetables, and so I assumed our diet was okay, but I did quite a bit of reading around the subject, and I decided that the thing for me to do was to go on a low carb diet, and so I followed the low blood sugar way of eating, which is a way which is there's some books written by Dr. Michael Molesley, and it's a low carb way of eating, and I have lost a good chunk of weight. I'm now under 11 stone, which I haven't been. Honestly, I don't know the last time I was under 11 stone. I'm 51 now, probably before my daughter was born, and she's 18. Probably before I got married. I don't know. I wasn't someone who would ever weigh myself. But I know I haven't been this weight, this lower weight for such a long time, and it feels amazing. I feel lighter. Obviously, I've lost just over 2 stone. It's brilliant. I'm so pleased with myself. I've got a tiny little bit more to go. I just want to have a bit of a buffer in case I have any fluctuations. And I've got another blood test in the middle of December to see if that's made any difference to my blood sugars. I'm really hoping it has. But it's just worked really well for me. I've enjoyed the food that I've been eating. I haven't found it difficult. My lovely family have worked with me. My husband we've been eating exactly the same food, but if they have rice, I might have cauliflower rice or no rice. When they have, so on Fridays we have something called Fun Food Friday, and quite often it's fish and chips from the freezer. I might have a piece of fresh salmon and some roasted butternut squash, something like that. Anyway, you don't need to know all of this. Where that was leading me was, so now, having lost all that weight, this is quite there's not a lot of positive ease around this area. So something has obviously gone wrong with my knitting or my measuring or something. It now fits me fine. It wouldn't have fitted me had I finished this earlier in the summer. So yeah, I'm not gonna, it's probably a jumper for around the house, which is a shame, because look, it is beautiful. I don't know. When I've spoken about this on the podcast before, I've been a little bit about it. I still feel a little bit about it, but I will wear it, and I might grow to love it a bit more. That's kind of what I'm saying. But don't let that put you off knitting this if you're interested, because it's a lovely sweater, and I will definitely knit more of Jennifer Steingass's patterns. So yeah, that's the Arata sweater. Okay, onto the pile. The second sweater that I finished is one that I started thinking, I'm sure it was in October, and I finished it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm going to go and get, I'm not very well organised. I'm going to get a ball of yarn to show you. Again, I've got more yarn left over. I've got 3 of these left over. And again, I possibly bought 1 extra. Okay, camera stopped recording there. What I was saying was that I finished this sweater. and I've got 3 skeins left. Gorgeous colour, absolutely beautiful colour. So the sweater was knit in Let Lopi. This is an Aran weight yarn. It's 50 grams, 100 metres, 100% wool. Not knit with this before. I absolutely loved knitting with it. It's got a tiny prickle, but I have worn this sweater without any problem whatsoever, and I would say that I was someone who was prone to being irritated by wool. I get a little bit of eczema sometimes, and I do think my skin is slightly sensitive, but this has not bothered me in the slightest. But I've got this left over, and when I tell you the story about the sweater, again, I must have done something wrong with my calculations. So anyway, here is the sweater. It's the Felix sweater. Pattern, paid for pattern on Ravelry. Designer is Amy Christophers. I absolutely love it. It's my favourite sweater that I have knit. I can stand up and just hold it up a bit. I should have put it on, shouldn't I? Very simple. It is a raglan sweater. Oops, I'm going to take it off the hair. You've probably seen this before, but the raglan shaping is accompanied by this beautiful simple yarn over feature. I love it, I love it. It's so comfy. That yarn is so light. I'm assuming it's a woolen spun yarn rather than a worsted spun yarn. But it just makes the most lightweight but really warm sweater. I would knit 100 of these, and I would really like to knit another one of these, because I made a really stupid boo-boo with this. I knit this after I'd lost a lot of weight, and so I've been able to go down 2 or 3 sizes when I knit garments now, which is really good. And so I chose a fit with just a tiny little bit of positive ease. I think it was size 3 I knit. Yes, it was size 3 I knit, which would mean there should be, I think it's either 3 or 4 of these repeats on the raglan shaping. But I knit, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 repeats. And I didn't discover that until I had got to the end of the sleeve, because my sleeve had reached the length it should have got to, and I hadn't finished decreasing. So, and I wasn't going to go back. So I had knit the whole of the body and the whole of one sleeve in way too big a size for me. And I wasn't going to go back, pull out all that knitting. So I was really deflated. But then I tried it on, and yes, it is too big for me. I mean, it's not quite that big. But it's got a lot of positive ease for me now. But actually, it looks fine. The sleeve, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it on. Hang on 1 second. So, there we go, jumper on. Right. Isn't it a beautiful colour? Let me see if I stand up. So, you can see where it comes to, that's fine. There's a lot of positive ease in it now. And look, the armholes come down here. My underarm is up here. That's how big it is on me. I had everything. I honestly don't know what I did. I have a little notebook with me when I'm knitting, and I mark out the number of times I would have had to repeat that. Something obviously went very wrong. But you know, it's fine. It fits it's too big. It's really comfortable. I love it. I love it. But I might knit another one in different colour but the same yarn, because it was quite a quick knit. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I can't tell you how pleased I am with it, despite all its failings. So yeah, it's yeah, I haven't got anything else to say about it. I'm just very pleased with it, if you can tell. Just check that I didn't have any other notes on that. No, I think I'll keep it on though. Okay, now the third jumper, sweater, is down here, and I have got a print out of this. So this is another paid for pattern on Ravelry, and it's Andrea Mowry's new sweater. It's the Stripes sweater. And I have cast it on yesterday. I haven't done very much. I mentioned I was wearing my boxy before I changed, and I mentioned that was knit out of Drops Nord, and I really like that yarn, and I had a few balls in various colours that I was going to do something else with, but then I saw this pattern and I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. Drops Nord would make a nice yarn for that pattern, and so that is what I'm knitting it out of. I'm going to show you the colourways. I had a few, but I also had to place an order with Wool Warehouse for some more. And right, hang on one sec. This is probably going to all go terribly wrong, but let's see if I can show you this all in one go. Okay, ready? Oh no, I've got two of those. Don't need that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There. Okay, so 3 greys and a so the middle blue is Deep Ocean, the bottom green is Lemongrass, and this, which is really bright on screen but is more like the colour of my sweater, so slightly, it's certainly not that bright an orange. I think this is called Rust. I'm not quite sure, but it's to my eyes that looks very rusty rather than the bright orange on screen. But those are the stripes. Those are the colours I'm using for the stripes. And I think it'll be a really just nice, fun sweater. It's a cropped sweater. You can do a full length, and you can do 3/4 length or full length sleeves. I suspect I will do 3/4 length sleeves. I quite like those. Yeah, so we will see how we get on. I'm using a whole hodgepodge of needles. I had to raid my my needle box for some of the needle sizes. There's about 3 or 4 different needle sizes that you need, and I normally like to use chow goos. I didn't have chow goos in all the sizes, and I've had to yeah, I think I've got a Knit Picks, not Knit Picks, Zing, Knit Pro Zings. I'm using a Knit Pro Nova. I'm using some hires. So yeah, the full range of needles to knit that. Anyway, there you go. So I shall share progress of that with you. Right. Anything else to say on that? Andrea Mowry, Drops Nord. Same as Boxy. Yeah, that's everything. So that is all the things that I've been knitting. Quite a lot, but it has been a few months. I'm now going to show you some of my acquisitions, not everything. Yeah, we'd be here far too long. I have no idea how long I've been speaking for already. But I just wanted to show you a few bits and pieces. So, in no particular order, I treated myself to some of Kelly Lay's or Les Family Yarns beautiful autumn minis recently. Kelly's just, oh, and Nick are just superb dyers, aren't they? It's a bit of a trend going on here with my colour themes at the moment. Anyway, yeah, so lovely, lovely yarn from Kelly. Don't know what these will be, but I would like to use them sooner rather than later. Yes. On the theme of minis, a little bit of rustling. Cinnabar Pink. This was a mini set from Linda at Cinnabar Pink. I love Linda's dyeing. She achieves really rich saturated colours, and I knit my Waiting for Rain shawl out of her yarn. Just, oh, that was one of my favourite knits ever. Yes, I just really like those. I thought they were nice and fun. And again, I don't know what they'll be. I'm just going to drop this on the floor. Don't know what they'll be, but there'll be something beautiful. And then I went on a bit of a Sherry Iris run over the last couple of months. Sherry is another stupendously good dyer. I can't remember the order that I bought these in, but shall I show you them all at once? Okay, here we go. I love it when you see yarn at that angle. So, Sherry's 3 skeins. So this one, if you can see on there, it says for treasure chest. This is a skein called a Garden Posy. This was the yarn that Sherry dyed as part of the treasure chest fundraising month that my Fox bag was part of as well. So Sherry dyed up the one of the, I can't remember if there was more than one yarn, but Sherry made a donation to breast cancer care at Catherine's local hospital. It's just really pretty, isn't it? And then I had the Mellow Season. It's the second one. Really lovely autumnal colours. You can see where my mind has been. I've been enjoying autumn this year. And then the last one is Between the Woods and the Frosty Lake. And oh, I think this is my favourite. Blues and greens. Just gorgeous. And look, it came with this lovely stitch marker or progress keeper. It's not going to focus, but yeah, so no plans for any of those. I would like to use them sooner rather than later though. I've got so much sock yarn sat in my stash, and I need to have a really good think about what I do with it. I want to use it all. There's very little in there that I would think about destashing. Maybe some of the commercial ones. I've got quite a lot of Knit Picks Felix, which well, I've got a few Felix skeins that I obviously haven't used because they're still in stash. I actually can't picture using them anytime soon. I'd rather use these. Anyway, I'm thinking aloud. The other one I wanted to show you was this is fun. This is from Helen at Giddy Yarns, and it's her Indiana Jones colourway. And if I showed that to you and said, tell me the film, I reckon you'd have got Indiana Jones from that. I think it's really clever. These will be socks. Or maybe I could make a pair of fingerless mitts out of them, actually. That might be what I do. Think. Yes, that might be what I do. Anyway, yeah, really love that. So this is Helen's High Twist base. It's an 80/20 Superwash BFL 20% nylon. Love it. Really love it. Fun. that's all the acquisitions that I'm going to show you. There's been a few other little bits and pieces. I've had my monthly subscription box from Beaches and Birdsong, which has been lovely. That's you sign up for a 3-month subscription and you get a couple of 20-gram mini skeins in the post each month, along with a couple of other little treats. And that's something, when that comes through the letterbox, it's just lovely. It's definitely a happy post day, but they've been put away in my mini box. Right, pop that there. So that just leaves, excuse me, I've got yarn fluff up my nose. That just leaves the very last few bits and pieces, the catch up, how have you been type thing. Just going to look at my notes to make sure I don't forget anything. So yeah, how has your life been over the last few months? I hope you've been well. I hope your families and friends are well. It's been a, you know, COVID is COVID, isn't it? And we are where we are. My COVID life, I work in the NHS, and we've obviously been working all the way through. I have a tendency to work in the office 3 days a week and at home 2 days a week, although sometimes I don't quite make the 2 days. I do enjoy those 2 days at home, I have to say. But yeah, it's really full on. It's the current wave and period of lockdown is very different in the hospital to the first period. In the first period, the area of work that I'm in is governance, and in particular audit and risk, and a lot of that work was put on the back burner during the first period. Not all of it, but some of it. But this time there's been no let up in the work, and if anything we're working even harder. But yeah, it's quite full on sometimes, and obviously the schools are open, so my daughter's been going to school. She's doing her A-levels this year, or this educational year. She's had quite a tough time. I've definitely been earning my mum's stripes over COVID with my daughter. Yeah, it's been quite hard in many respects. Anyway, we'll see where we get to. Hopefully we'll be coming out of all of this in the spring, summer. It would be good, wouldn't it? Anyway, the last time you saw me, I was about to go on our summer holiday. We were due to go away for 2 weeks. We actually in the end went away for 1 week, because the morning that we were travelling, we went to France camping, and that very day that we went was the day that the government announced that people coming back from France would have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. So we decided that we would still go, but we would go for 1 week, and we would come back, self-isolate for 2 weeks, and then my daughter would be able to start school without missing any lessons. So that's what we did. It's lovely to be away, really nice. It's our family happy place, the campsite that we go to. Anyway, all that to say, I showed you a great big pile of books that I was going to read, and I didn't read them. I scraped the surface. I finished 2 of them. I finished a couple of books, but I haven't got through most of the pile that I showed you. I have been reading a lot, just got distracted with other books. I'm umming and ahhing about whether to tell you this. I will do, because I enjoy hearing about what other people have been reading on their podcast, so I will share with you what I've been reading. I've got a pile. This is the pile that of physical books that I've finished. I was reading at the time of my last podcast. I was reading Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher. I really enjoyed it. I'd like to read it again and again over the years. I know it's the sort of book that people do that with. It's just a nice story. Yeah, it's just a nice story, and kind of what I needed at the time. Yeah, so there's nothing deep or difficult about this. It's just, you know, it's a story about humanity and relationships and Christmas, and yeah, it was lovely. So yeah, that's Winter Solstice. I then read The Salt Path by Raynor Winn. This was really good. I really enjoyed it. Again, nothing too difficult about it. It's a story about a couple who lose their home and are homeless, and they walk the coastal path around, roughly around Devon and Cornwall into Dorset. Anyway, again, it's a story about humanity and people's lives. It's a true story, and the author Raynor has written a second book which I shall read at some point. But yeah, just really enjoyed it. Funny in places, sad in places. I had a little tear at one point. But yeah, read that pretty quickly. And then I read Kazuo Ishiguro, Never Let Me Go. Why did I read this? This wasn't even on my list of books to read when I podcast last time. But I was browsing through the bookstore and just fancied it. And I don't know if you've read it. It's a story. I think it's what they call a dystopian novel, and it's about a group of people starts off in a school. I don't want to say too much in case you haven't read it, because it's quite a clever concept. I didn't struggle with it. I'm trying to find the words. I would go back and read this again. There were bits that I didn't quite get, and I think some of that was because I read late at night, or for me late at night, and fall asleep while I'm reading and forget things. But having read a summary of this after finishing reading it, some of the things clicked that I had been reading, so I quite like to go back and read it again. But it's written by the narrator was in this particular school that it's not a normal school, and these people have a particular destiny in life, and it follows their lives from school through adulthood. And yeah, I would say it's definitely worth a read if you haven't read it. I know it's been around for quite a long time, and it's always one of those books that's on the list of books that you should read. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed. Well, no, I won't say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that and Winter Solstice. I was intrigued by this and would like to go back and read again, so I can digest it a bit better. I think that's what I would say. I have also got myself an Audible subscription, because I have a walk. I don't have a long walk to work. I park and walk for 15 minutes, but that's half an hour a day, and I have been listening to audiobooks in that time. And the books that I've been listening to, a little while ago I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which I really loved, and I thought then that I would listen to a book by the same author, Heather Morris, I think her name is, and she wrote a subsequent book called Cilka's Journey. So I listened to that, thoroughly enjoyed that as well. I would recommend that. It's the story about one of the Auschwitz inmates, prisoners, and what happens to her when she leaves Auschwitz. I will say no more than that. Just really interesting, thoroughly interesting read. I then, I've read a couple of books about, by Michael Molesley about the low carb diet, but I also have just finished Unnatural Causes, which is a book by Dr. Richard Shepherd. And Dr. Richard Shepherd is a forensic pathologist. This is a autobiography, and it's about his life as a forensic pathologist and some of the really famous cases that he's been involved in. It was fascinating. In a previous life, I used to go to quite a lot of inquests, and would see the pathologist in action. Not this particular one, but yeah, just it's an area of work that fascinates me. And so when I saw his book, I thought, oh yes, that's right up my street. And it intermingled his life story with his big famous cases and how he got to become a forensic pathologist. It really was interesting, and if you find that sort of thing interesting, I would highly recommend it. Yeah, he narrated it himself, and he has a very engaging way of talking. So yeah, one to be recommended. I am also currently listening to a book called Downsizing by the former deputy leader of the Labour Party, Tom Watson. He was a chap who was diabetic and lost a huge amount of weight following the same way of eating that I'm following. So I was quite interested in that, so just started reading that on Audible. And the book that the hard copy book that I'm currently reading is the second of his Dark Materials books, The Subtle Knife. So reading along with the current series that's being shown on BBC One. But I'm not very far into that, 60-70 pages or so. So I won't say anything about that until I finished it. And that is everything I have to say about books. I hope that was okay for you. As I said, I really enjoy hearing what other people think about the books that they're reading. So if you don't mind, I will slip a book section in every now and then. Right, I think we've reached the end of this podcast. I have no idea how long I've been talking to you for. This will be over an hour, I'm absolutely sure, maybe heading towards an hour and a half. I am not quite sure when I'll get to upload it, but hopefully during the week I'll be able to edit, and probably take quite a while for it to upload to YouTube, but we will persevere, get there. So let me finish off just by saying thank you very much for watching. Thank you, I know I said thank you at the beginning, but thank you for coming back. I really do enjoy doing this. It has taken me quite a lot of working myself up to do this. I don't find speaking to the camera very natural. I'm sure most of us are in that boat, in that same boat. But yeah, it takes me quite a lot of self-motive. Oh, I see. I'm not a very natural wordsmith when I'm speaking. I'm not a great storyteller. My family will tell you that. I find it much easier to think and write things down rather than to ad-lib to the camera. However, I do it because I enjoy it, and I want to get better at it, and I want to get more regular and more consistent with this. And so maybe 2021 is the year. We will see. On that note, I will finish. If there's anything that you want more information about, please just let me know. Like and subscribe if you would like to. It would mean a lot. And thank you very much. I really hope to see you soon. Maybe I'll record in December, let's see. And if it's not December, actually no, let's not draw a line under that. I will be back with you as soon as I can. All right, wishing you lots of love, and I will see you soon. Bye. Nearly fell off my seat then. Hello, welcome to episode 29 of the Eldenwood Craft podcast. I'm laughing because I just about fell off my seat. And maybe you are too by review.